Hello. This video will be about Oxfam, Haiti, money, power and prostitution. So let's get started. I got sidetracked by Trudeau last week. Who wasn't? You couldn't miss that, could you? But I did want to make a video about the Oxfam scandal, so I know this might be a little late from a fresh news point of view, but then it's not just news, it goes further than that. First of all, to remind you, it came to light, I think, at the beginning of February, that when the Oxfam team were in Haiti after the 2010 earthquake, the director in charge of operations, a man, and I use the term man in its broadest possible definition, called Roland van Havermeyen, gave a bit more of a helping hand to at least one citizen of that country, and possibly several more, than was strictly necessary. While Roland van Havermeyen was supposed to be looking after the best interests of people who had experienced the horror of the very earth rising up against them, this director of operations, and I use the word director of operations in their broadest possible, I'm going to shorten that. From now on, in its broadest possible definition, will be shortened to IIBPD, right? Okay, so while Roland van Havermeyen, Director of Operations, IIBPD, lived under the shelter of one of the few dwellings still standing on that blighted island, rented for him by Oxfam, naturally, he was inviting local women, characterised by the press as prostitutes, to entertain him during the long dark nights. Seeing as there was probably not much electricity about at the time, and therefore other avenues of entertainment might have been restricted. Now, a definition of the word prostitute is a person, in this case a woman, who has sex with another person, in this case a man, and in this case I use the word man, IIBPD, for the payment of cash per service. And that's the problem with the word prostitute, isn't it? Because it doesn't cover the grey areas. Would you call a woman a prostitute if she has sex with an Oxfam director, IIBPD, to earn herself enough money to feed her family in a situation where otherwise they would starve? I wouldn't. There were also reports of a gang of Roland van Havermeyen's subordinates threatening and intimidating a witness during the subsequent investigation. So he had a gang around him, didn't he? And such things generally go together, because use of prostitutes in that sort of a situation, to my mind, would have more to do with the exercise of power than the need for sex. Roland van Havermeyen has form on this. The same thing was going on in Chad in 2006, also under his supervision, IIBPD. A situation which was discovered and then covered by Oxfam. Unlike the prostitutes he'd employed at the time, Oxfam knew about it and sent him to Haiti anyway. They also gave him a reference so he could get a job in Bangladesh, working for the French charity Action Against Hunger. Nothing seems to be coming out about Roland van Havermeyen's behaviour in Bangladesh, but then let's face it, unlike the Haitian woman who came forward to tell of her encounters with this director of operations, IIBPD, when she was 16 years old, any woman who got paid for sex for whatever reason in a Muslim country like Bangladesh, which hosts a culture in which families have no problem at all in murdering or mutilating girls that bring shame on the family, it's very unlikely that any misconduct on the part of Roland van Myron would ever come to light. So I'll say this for the man, he's learning. Stick to the shame cultures and you're home free. Oh, by the way, Oxfam now deny giving Roland van Myron the reference with which he got the job with Action Against Hunger, which means that either Oxfam is more institutionally corrupt than even this case has shown and has the ability to cover up anything, including some official or semi-officially giving a reference to a disgraced operative, or Action Against Hunger is totally incompetent and probably just as corrupt as Oxfam. You pays your money and you takes your choice. But my money is on Oxfam. It didn't have any problems redacting the names of all the other operatives involved in the Haiti scandal. I wonder what sort of jobs they managed to get with other organisations. Now, I'm now going to go back to what might appear to be an unrelated subject. You see, Oxfam has been implicated in a number of anti-Semitic incidents of various sorts, with the chief executive, Mark Goldring, heading an organisation that has an almost obsessive attitude towards Israel. No country is innocent of misdeeds, injustices and corruption. And I'm quite sure that Israel is just as bad as most, but it is a lot better than many. Yet Oxfam seems unable to think of little else. Also, as an organisation, it's certainly in bed with a lot of unsavoury groups, including Hamas, which, I would remind everyone, is a danger not only to Jews, but to the entire Western world. Jews are, by their own words, only the first target. There's a saying in Arabic, not much translated into English for reasons that might become obvious to you when I've told you what the saying is. And it's this in Arabic, and you'll have to excuse my accent. I learnt my Arabic at Manchester University. What can I say? Ba'd yawm as-sabat yati al-ahad. And that means after Saturday comes Sunday. You work it out. The thing about anti-Semitism is that when you see any group or organisation that allows itself to be infected by this virus, it's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it that you can't see. It may look like there's a bit of an anomaly just floating about on the surface, and then you realise that it's like the fin of a shark. In itself, not particularly worrisome, until you look beneath the surface. I always get suspicious when I hear of some high-placed individual in a much-loved organisation who comes out with some awful nonsense about Jews. And then everyone says, oh no, it's just him, that was an aberration, he made a mistake, we all made a mistake, it won't happen again. And then a little bit later you hear of other stuff, nasty stuff, stuff that has nothing to do with Jews that was going on all the time, hidden beneath the surface. It's funny, but it actually does seem like a pretty solid, inviolable law. And that's why, by the way, that's why I'm so worried about the British Labour Party, but that's possibly for another video. And it's all too depressing for words. Meanwhile, let's end with the Oxfam motto: the power of people against poverty. Well, according to one newspaper, Roland van Myron paid that 16-year-old girl, that 16-year-old disaster-stricken girl, between £70 and £140 for her services, which it would have been a fortune to her as a 16-year-old whose house has collapsed in a terrible disaster. So it looks like Mr. van Myron has taken that motto to heart: the power of the people against poverty, exercising his power as a person, and I use the word person, IIBPD, to show how Oxfam really does exercise its power against poverty.